Hello everybody, as usual, a brief update for those who are following my methodology and system and theories applied, also with my own build expert advisor on MetaTrader, which is u.U.F.O, and as usual I go straightly to the point, and of course I invite you to always compare your data from your MetaTrader platform and follow also the previous videos on which I give more information about how I designed and the behavior of my algorithm that tried somehow to read the markets in the different conditions and then provides for manual traders the availability of reading the whole market by reading very few charts and in a blink of an eye. Actually, you're seeing here I have a trade running, just the last one, of a quite enough series this week, while I was also testing some improvements on the graphical module of this algorithm. Therefore now, as usual, I will do my last statement before closing the orders, and then we will have also a brief recap. Okay, this is it. Let's recognize for a while. So I made different trades this week, and also somewhat tense and forecasting based on some possible evolution of the currencies. Some of them they were not very well, but in the overall performance, as usual, the reading of the markets helped me to focus on the most profitable currencies, which at the beginning of the week were more euro against Aussie and New Zealand dollar and CAD, but then turned out other currencies to be more likely to be traded, as in this case GBP New Zealand dollar. As you may see, this last currency, which is GBP currency pair, which is GBP New Zealand dollar in buy, I've been trading that with more lots, and let's just give a look to that chart just to recap on when I entered this trade. As you can see, there is a swap. So in this days I was also implementing this graphical module that you may see here is projecting at least 3 days of chart analysis. And anyway, this swap condition suggests that the trade has been taken the day before, right in this area. So, and sometimes it gives this error, pardon. Okay, so let's grab it again. Oh my God, sometimes because it's taking data in real time. Let's see if I do it this way. Trendline properties, no, it doesn't work. Okay, it seems I have a little problem with the internet connection and it doesn't allow me to do that. Anyway, no problem, this has nothing to do with that. Okay, so basically that was the projection that I got in this point. I don't know what is happening today. There are some issues. Probably I have to make the Windows updates first, and I didn't because I just got home. And as usual, I encountered a retrace of this currency. Anyway, the trade that I have injected was, let's see if it does again. Of course it will. Around 8 o'clock on the chart, as you may see here, at the time that I made this trade. So at this price level, and there was this movement of the GBP New Zealand dollar suggested by, let me show you in the euro. Okay, as usual, you know, I analyze 9 time frames, and despite the fact that there is a negative position in the monthly for the GBP, and as well as a negative position on the New Zealand dollar, this value was much lower in the previous days, so then it went up to a better level so it was a kind of bumping up of the GBP, and in fact in the weekly chart we can see that GBP has been positive and quite strong, while New Zealand dollar was the most negative, and even euro dollar was positive, euro was positive in the weekly, but in the daily euro has not that much strength, and now even GBP is losing some strength, and I wanted to keep this, but anyway stronger than New Zealand dollar. That's why GBP buy, New Zealand dollar sell. Please see the previous videos on where I explain and where I see the threshold values. I tried to make some experiments also with Aussie GBP, Aussie Japanese yen, and other currencies that were not that much successful, but I was also kind of trying to anticipate a move that then didn't happen, but I was already in positive balance with other trades, so it was a kind of experiment, even because I was testing what I'm about to show you a bit today in detail on the graphical side of this expert advisor, which is a kind of feature that should help somehow the manual traders to make some kind of scalping, or anyway try to find a better level of positioning in regards to the trading action that we want to take. So let's, even if there will be probably some opportunities of retracing again, I would like to show you that, for example, in the 4-hour time frame, the GBP New Zealand dollar now is recomputating, making different computations. Let me just put this way and let's see if it works. There is some issues with the internet connection, so sometimes it's a bit slower today, but it's fine. Let's check anyway the euro dollar, always 4 hours, so it's quite the same. We see that GBP has become negative and New Zealand dollar has become positive. Okay, and if we take a look, here is the same. See, GBP negative and New Zealand dollar positive in the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so basically no matter the chart, the values that we see and that we can appreciate here are the values of the whole market in real time, tick by tick. So because of this, we have this retracement. So GBP negative and New Zealand dollar positive is a sell. Okay, but since yesterday evening and for all the day until the beginning of the London session, there was this positivity, okay, of the GBP and negativity of New Zealand dollar. Therefore, a buy order injected in the currency pair GBP New Zealand dollar. Okay, so let's close also this position which anyway provide me 170 pips. And let's do a final save details report. Okay, so we have the fourth. Probably made too similar, but it's fine, no problem. Okay, and then we will analyze this in a while. What I am working on at this moment, let's see in the case of the GBP, is a completely, you can see here we have these lines that are related to a main channel with a fair price calculated for each and every currency pair that we are visualizing and that we are applying our expert advisor. And so we can have kind of line of support resistance for the very long period, these violet ones, the medium period, which is more in detail the gray ones, which seems to be some kind aligned, and there is a third expression that now is almost in the same line, is a bit going up. You can see here this magenta, dark magenta lines of support and resistance based on a lower time frame, but always related to the fair price of a lower time frame. This way we have a kind of channeling of the price action that we can read no matter the movement of the price by the calculation of the highs and the lows of this case. Okay, here I completely got rid of some other lines that were anyway noising and that can be represented anyway by this yellow bar, which is very simple to be a line where here we have the ask price and here we have the bid price. So basically with this bar we can see the ask and the bid without having too much extra lines that are somehow messing around with our eyes and with our reading of the charts. So this case is quite, you know, this is the channeling of the price embedded in the possible projections of the lines that are coherent with the movement of the price and with the highs and the lows of the price that we got in the day. I'm stressing here the fact that the only possible indicator, if we can call it that way, but it's not an indicator, is the volumes that normally I do represent in this way, but here I put it with this kind of representation just because I am analyzing the support resistance level and the formulations that I'm coding at this moment. So I'm still in testing of this feature, but it's almost finished. And also we can see this main channel represented by this gray line that is going up, 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 and then correcting, and this is the actual elevation of the price that the price had in this very Friday. We are Friday today, markets are quite about to close, so we should stop the trades and think about getting some profit and leave the next trades for next week without leaving too much money to our brokers or into the market. Okay, I've passed many videos explaining how to read this chart, and also in the very previous ones also to have an idea on how to use them properly with the hedging strategy module. and also I have explained in the previous videos about this in charts evaluation. So in this case we are on a GBP New Zealand dollar, and here we have some evaluations about the base and the quote. So base is GBP in this case and quote is New Zealand dollar, with some evaluations, and the fact that if the base is falling and the quote is ranging / rising, we can have expecting a fall, but we must be aware of the fact that at this moment, in this time, we are about some hours before closing the market, so there can be a lot of manipulations, games or whatever. Okay, so let's also give a brief analysis of what I did. And as you may see, there are many trades injected, also some little projections or mistakes that I've cancelled, but no problem. And in the very first trades, the very 20 trades, this was the result. Okay, so with some losing trades, I'd rather not use stop losses, but I prefer to analyze the charts, and if these values are telling me that there is something going wrong against my predictions because I was too much rushing, or probably because, like in certain days, I had no time to be there at the proper moment, so I tried to anticipate a move or to guess in a move based on some values that were not anyway completely developed. So I was trying to guess with values that were like 200, 250, so not that much stronger or weaker. I prefer to close the trade, and normally I do attempt this kind of extra guessing based on probability only if I am already in a positive balance, like in this case. So even if I lose a bit, it's not that much problem, and I can always recover that. Okay, so this was the first projection of the trade that I made, and as usual I invite you to take a look and check on your MetaTrader platform the values and the prices that are listed here, so you can stop the video and take note and then check on the other side. Okay, this was the first one. Then let's go further, and after this brief movement I got also this improvement of my balance to almost 3,000. Okay, on a base of 10,000 currency units, 10,000 euros, and with a leverage of 500 in this case. Then I traded, the GBP New Zealand dollar, and I basically left only one position open that was floating around this point. Probably this is quite the same graphic. No, it's another one. Okay, so we have, but they are quite similar anyway. This is the improvement that I got. Of course, I a bit over traded this week, but I was also in a testing phase, so it's fine and it's normal to have some more attempts. And finally, this is the very last one. So I realized 500 and almost 500, 5,600 euros from an account of 10,000 euros. Okay, so this kind of simulations provided me anyway a very nice percentage of profitable trades against the wrong ones that you can see. That was completely wrong. Okay, I also like to show that not always I do 100% of positive trades, but in this case it's more easy to make mistakes or make evaluations that then the markets are manipulating, even because I was trading based on assumptions that were related to values that were not completely stabilized, as weak as strong, but they were going toward that direction. So sometimes we try also to do that way. The important thing is that when we make mistakes, they are very little, and they are anyway covered by already a profit that we have. And when we make profit, that the profit and the gain is very higher compared to the losses. Okay, so to recap, from an initial balance and just 1700 euros gain, now we arrive to almost 5600. Okay, and this is quite anyway a positive balance that I'm happy to show, and a result that is positive, and everybody would like to have something like that by the end of the week. Coming back on the module, as you can see, the projections of the fair price, that here I am, see how the market is behaving, trying to retracing and retracing, and in this case we have a 5 minutes chart on which we have a very weak GBP and anyway a positive New Zealand dollar, and the base GBP is falling and the quote New Zealand dollar is rising. So if we have something above that is falling and something that is ranging rising, okay, we can guess a sell of the currency pair. But I'm not trading anymore, even because I'm explaining to you this video I made, of course, and I use this demo for instructional purposes. I have my own real account separated from that, and my analysis anyway can be done easily on every chart, on every ACM broker, on which all the currency pairs are provided with honesty from the broker. And the fact is that I was also coding. What you may see now is getting a different development, and we can see that despite the main support and resistance, which are these two lines here, of a fair price, that there is this one for an enough longer time period, time frame, sorry, we have another channeling, which is the gray one, with relative fair price and support resistance, and we are also having a smaller time frame channel with fair price calculated, and this can be very useful for positioning ourselves in our trades, especially if used combined to one indicator at maximum. If I have to suggest something, I can suggest RSI, but I like to do that with the volumes, with the tick volume anyway. Tick volume not because it's a volume, but because provides me a kind of idea of activity of trading. Okay, nothing more, nothing less. And I use the line of close instead of the bar chart, because it reduces significantly the noise in the reading, and because it's at the end is more accurate, and markets rely on the close of the price. This is quite important. Nevertheless, it can be used. As you can see, there is a kind of sense with the candlesticks and with the volumes. So a very simple setup with some trend lines, let's say, or channel lines that can help us to analyze the flux of the price without too much effort. I think that the goal also of implementing the graphical module, it's almost done. So for those who have already this EA, this will be a release that they will get as soon as the phase of testing is done. And this, of course, even if we change the time frame, this lines of support, resistance and channel, they won't change. They will stay in accordance with what is computed. At least this main channel every half an hour. Okay, so it's quite enough time for considering to trade, even for scalping. Even if I don't like scalping, I have to admit, also by some emails I received that were asking me about creating something in regards to scalping, that when we position ourselves for our trade, we do a kind of scalping action. Okay, so that would have been the only thing that would have been implemented in the algorithm, because this part is already completely functional and free of error, because what you see here is a tick by tick analysis and computation of all the data that your broker provides you in regards to the high, low, open, close, then put all together from all the at least 28 currency pairs. There is some more, but we can trade these currency pairs only, and then computed tick by tick. Okay, so with this brief recap and with this very nice final result, I say hi to you. I thank you for watching and for your emails of support and for your positive words that I always receive, and gives me some motivation to provide even more examples and tutorials. And so thanks for watching and supporting, and for any need, you can always write a comment or write me an email, and let's keep in contact that way, or through Skype for those of you who like to have more direct confrontation. And I wish you a very good weekend, and as usual, a good time and a good space. Okay, bye.